In a world where towering personas dominate the ring and pyrotechnics, promos, and power slams fill arenas with roars and spectacle, there occasionally comes a moment that stops time itself, a moment that strips away the gimmicks and titles, leaving only the raw humanity of the person behind the performer. Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the tribal chief, the head of the table, is known for dominance, discipline, and defiance, but all of that crumbled when he was faced with the most terrifying opponent of his life, one he couldn't suplex into submission or outlast in a match. This opponent wasn't a rival superstar or a main event challenge. It was a mysterious and rapidly escalating illness that struck his 2-year-old daughter Joelle Anoa'i, pulling the curtain back on a far more intimate and painful chapter of his life. Whispers of concern began quietly within the WWE Universe when Roman missed a scheduled media appearance without explanation. Fans noticed the lack of fire in his walk, the distraction in his eyes during his SmackDown entrance, and the weight behind every word he delivered, as if he were mentally somewhere far away. That somewhere was a hospital room in Tampa, where his baby girl was suddenly clinging to life after suffering seizures and a fever that wouldn't break. It began like a common cold but spiraled so rapidly that even doctors were left scrambling. The man who had previously battled leukemia and returned stronger than ever now found himself back in a war, but this time not for his own life, but for his daughter's. Roman, a notoriously private man when it comes to his family, offered no public statement, but the silence surrounding him was deafening. The WWE community started putting pieces together. Fans who knew the Anoa'i family personally began leaking tidbits, and soon social media exploded when a photo emerged of Roman leaving a children's hospital with his hood pulled low and eyes red with exhaustion. This wasn't kayfabe. This was agony. Joelle had been admitted to the ICU, diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder that attacked her nervous system, resulting in seizures, extreme fatigue, and a dangerously high fever. With tubes and monitors now tethered to her tiny body, Roman stayed by her bedside day and night, often whispering the same words he repeated to himself during his own cancer treatments: just one more day. WWE postponed his appearances. Title defenses were cancelled. Not a single executive dared to pressure him, at least not openly. But behind the scenes, reports surfaced that some within corporate WWE had pushed for Roman to make a virtual appearance to preserve ratings and maintain narrative continuity. When he refused, insiders say Paul Heyman exploded in defense of his client, storming into meetings and demanding space and respect for Roman's real-life crisis. The wise man became a lion in that moment, drawing his own battle lines not for storyline loyalty but for real loyalty to a man he had come to see as family. Meanwhile, across the industry, messages poured in. From Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch to Cody Rhodes and even Brock Lesnar, words of love and support flooded the timeline. AEW stars broke their silence. Legends of the past tweeted out prayers. The hashtag #PrayForJoelle and hashtag #StayStrongRoman hashtags went global. WWE responded by airing a surprise tribute package on Raw. Gone were the promos and pyros. Instead, the screen showed Roman and Joelle laughing and dancing in old home videos. It faded to black with 4 words that hit harder than any promo ever could: "We're with you, Big Use." But still, Roman himself didn't speak. Until one unexpected night, he appeared unannounced on a Make-A-Wish Foundation Zoom call. His voice was cracked, his eyes hollowed with fatigue, but his words thundered through the silence. "She's strong. Stronger than I've ever been. There's no opponent like fear. But we fight every day." He didn't say her name, but the world knew exactly who he meant. 3 weeks passed in what felt like suspended animation. Joel's condition worsened, then stabilized, then plunged again into the unknown. Doctors brought in specialists. Roman clutched her hand, prayed over her body, and read her bedtime stories through tears. Nurses described seeing the strongest man in WWE cry like a broken child. But then, as if summoned by sheer will, Joelle turned a corner. Her fever broke. The seizures stopped. She opened her eyes and gave Roman a weak smile, and in that moment he collapsed into her arms, sobbing. A single Instagram story was posted days later, a tiny hand wrapped around his finger, no caption needed. The post amassed millions of views within hours. And then came the miracle. Joelle was discharged. Walking, yes, walking, out of the hospital with Roman beside her, the image became etched in the hearts of millions. SmackDown erupted in spontaneous chants of "Joelle! Joelle!" Signs filled the front rows. Commentators cracked as they tried to contain their emotions. And then, 1 week later, the arena lights went black, Roman's theme hit, and the tribal chief emerged, not flanked by the Usos, not cloaked in menace, but carrying Joelle in his arms. She wore a mini Believe That shirt and waved shyly as the crowd erupted with a kind of roar that had nothing to do with storyline and everything to do with love. He entered the ring and took the mic. "You know me as the head of the table. But today, I'm just a grateful dad." The crowd chanted, "Thank you, Joelle." He continued, "She's faced a battle I hope none of you ever have to see. And she won. She didn't need a title, she didn't need pyro. She had heart. And heart beats everything." Tears streamed down his face. He bowed, not as a champion, not as a wrestler, but as a father. Joelle waved again, and grown men wept in the front row. It was one of those rare WWE moments that wasn't manufactured, it was real. Raw. Human. Triple H had reportedly called Roman personally during Joelle's ICU stay and told him he could take as much time as he needed. WWE paused Bloodline storylines. Paul Heyman broke character on SmackDown to narrate a tribute video not as the wise man, but as a family friend. Montez Ford cried during a backstage interview while speaking about Joelle. Even Michael Cole said it on live commentary, "She's a fighter. Just like her dad." The outpouring of love wasn't just heartwarming, it was transformative. It reminded fans why they loved wrestling in the first place. Because behind the stories, behind the face paint, belts, and betrayal arcs, there are real people with real families and real emotions. Roman Reigns may return to the ring with fury. He may step back into bloodline warfare, claim titles, and headline WrestleManias again. But nothing will ever top the day he carried Joelle into that ring. Because that was more than a return. That was a resurrection. So if you've ever cheered for Roman Reigns, now's the time to let him hear it. Comment, share, and remember her name. Joelle Anoa'i, the real undisputed champion. Not because of what she wore. Not because of what she won. But because of what she survived. And because she reminded us all what true strength looks like. Titles fade. Moments pass. But love endures. And Joelle's story will be remembered long after the lights go out and the final bell rings.